Welcome to the Wealthy SAP Consultant Podcast with your host, Anita Anello, where we empower SAP consultants to deliver premium services by showcasing their expertise to the world. In each episode, we dive deep into strategies, tips, and success stories to help SAP consultants like you elevate your consultancy game, attract high-paying clients, and maximize your revenue potential. Get ready to unlock the secrets to success in the SAP consulting world and position yourself as a top-tier consultant. To connect further and explore personalized strategies for your consulting business, schedule a strategy call with our team by clicking the link below. Enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. This is your host, Anita Anello, with the Wealthy SAP Podcast. And I have a new friend of mine, Pruthvee, with me here today. We're getting started in the conversation and getting to know one another a little bit better. And so, Pruthvee, thank you so much for being here. He's all the way over in the UK, so it's a lot later for him than it is for me right now. So I just thank you for being here with me today and listening to me bang my foot on a chair in the middle of a podcast. Sorry about that. So anyway, welcome to the show. Let's go ahead and get started. Could you do an introduction for yourself and then give us a little bit of your backstory?
So hi everyone. I'm Pruthvee Narang. I'm currently located into UK, and I lead manufacturing and planning side of business for Dragonfly Business Solutions. And my journey started with SAP 10 years back in 2015, where I started as a fresher to work for an organization called Invenio. And since day one, I've been quite interested into manufacturing. My background before that was into computer science, so starting as a fresher, getting into SAP was a bit tricky. You kind of know the system more than you know the business.
Yeah.
So it was into that, but then over the years, I've kind of realized like the real value that comes is like not just from knowing the system, but from deeply kind of understanding the pain points that the businesses are facing or the users are facing, and then kind of working around that and delivering a solution that is a good solution for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Prithvi, tell me a little bit more about when you said you almost like the words that kind of come to light in my mind is you almost moved from like academically knowing the system to be able to move into the business. What was it that like sparked your journey to move into that area of working on these SAP projects?
So to be honest, like I started as a graduate,
Okay.
postgraduate into knowing the system. So I knew computers. I was on like masters in computer science, and then went into this industry. So as a fresher, you look like this, like you're limited to what you are looking at and what you're thinking about. And then eventually, when I started working on projects and talking to businesses like the end users, the business owners, the process owners, and all of them, like I would say, they want to do good at what they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no one in any industry wants to do something that is going to cause harm to the business,
Mm-hmm.
and each and everyone is focused in doing their job correctly. And what happens is, me as a consultant, when I'm just thinking more towards the system,
Oh, yeah.
we kind of forget that they, being an end user, they might not know everything that I know.
Yeah.
And understanding their pain areas and focusing on those kind of scenarios wherein they are facing some issues, and just giving them assurance that this is to make your life better. This is to improve the business process. This is not that you're doing 10 extra steps and we are trying to force something on you, and it's not something that you're going to enjoy. Like, those kind of assumptions
Mhm.
gather if doing something like a greenfield implementation and they've not seen SAP. And eventually I kind of went on that, like, you have to understand the business, you have to make them believe that the system is there to support them, not to spoil their life.
I love that because the what I hear from you is the undercurrent is you wanted to be able to understand the end users and what was most important to them in their day because that's what matters to them, but then also deliver incredible amount of value. Because don't we know, like we all just acknowledge SAP implementations can be really hard. They can be really time consuming. We ask of our clients, like, hey, go ahead and do your normal job all day long. And then, by the way, we're doing this SAP implementation. And for the next while, not a couple minutes, longer than that. We're going to work through this process, and we're going to retool your business processes, and we're going to try to, with the goal of always being improving the outcome, improving your business. So I love what you said about just the businesses really wanting to do something better. They wanted to improve the business. I love, actually, I don't know if you put it this way. What I hear is, I love your heart and that, and under like kind of the undercurrent is I really want to help people. So great job. I don't know, maybe you have different words. You can totally correct me if you're right, but that's kind of what I'm taking away from that part of the conversation, is that you really want to deliver value to your clients, and that you really have a heart to serve. And I love that.
Yeah. That's you've put it in a way better way that I would have been able to say. But yeah, that's the underlying statement, right? You are in this business to resolve issues, not create more problems for someone who is, already doing like a 10-hour shift, 12-hour shift, because the end users are the ones, specifically on a manufacturing shop floor,
Oh yeah.
they are putting their life on that shop floor, and
Mhm.
you would want to do something that puts a smile on their face. This solution works for me.
Yeah.
This is going to ease my life. So listening to these kind of feedback, this solution is going to ease my life. It's going to save so much time in my day that I'll be able to do something else in there. Like that's what you crave for.
Yeah. Was there something in particular about like the industry vertical of manufacturing that drew you in? I mean, there's lots of industry verticals in the SAP world. What was it specifically around that vertical that was like, hey, I really want to know more about this. I'm really drawn to this. What was it for you that kind of drew you into the companies that are in that area?
So, to be absolutely frank,
Yeah.
the thing was when I started as a fresher, I was trained into FI, manufacturing, uh, plant maintenance,
Mm.
and warehousing, all those kind of scenarios. Eventually, one of the leads in that organization told me that this guy would be working in my team, and I had to join his team. And initially, I was like, okay, there are other things to do. But then when I started working with one of my clients back in India, in Pune, they were a newspaper printing firm,
Okay.
and their scenario was completely like it completely blew my mind. Like they were printing newspapers, and you know to print a newspaper news for the next day, you're kind of in the journey of configuring that entire structure of the news on that paper. And after 10 o'clock, it starts printing.
Yeah.
They print in the until the morning, and then it's out for distribution.
Yeah.
And it was like, I want to see something more like this, and that's where my drive kind of increased. And since then I've worked into automotives, I've worked into power supply units, for manufacturing of power supply units,
Yeah.
pharma, and I just love meeting the end users and what they're doing recent, like in their day-to-day life. I've worked into additive manufacturing, and it's something for 3D printing. And I kind of was completely blown by the way those machineries work. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, printing metal parts out of just powders with laser printing. And you're actually building a turbine out of it
Yeah.
through lasers. And it's just amazing how things work now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my drive actually, to learn more about how they're doing things.
Right. Oh, I love that. I love it for you because I see your face light up. And each and every time I talk to somebody in the SAP world, consultants that have been in their space for any length of time, and they're really working in their zone of genius, their sweet spot. I love having that conversation because I have had that experience as well. Like the kind of clients that I love to work with when I'm in there doing what I can do, walking them through my system, being able to, I do a lot of escalation work. And so those projects that are significantly over time, over budget, on the verge of lawsuit, maybe like $100 million SAP implementation, kind of a sweet spot. Like, I love that. And I have a friend of mine, he's like, Anita, you are crazy. Why do you love that work? And I was like, I just do. I love helping people walk through the process of come out of conflict and get into resolution, and then being able to solve the complex problems, the people problems that come along with those projects. That's what I saw on your face, Pruthvee, and it was so exciting to see. So
Yeah.
I love that, because every time each and every one of us, this is my belief, every time each and every one of us come to the table and we're working in that zone of genius, that sweet spot area, that excitement, and then we bring that to our client base, then they see that excitement, they see that desire, and it helps through these difficult projects. And it helps us to be kind of like that lifelong learner. I also love when we can articulate, hey, I have this expertise over here and it fits in this space over there, and here's where I deliver incredible value to my clients. And then you have kind of like that marrying of the great projects and then great people all together. So I see that on your face. I just want to celebrate that in you. I think it's so cool. Um, so
Thank
tell
you.
me, like, what kind, well, I don't even know, because manufacturing is not, I've worked on some distribution clients, not necessarily full-blown manufacturing. What kinds of problems do these come up in these projects that you need to solve on a regular basis? Like, what are the typical kind of threads that you see that come up in an SAP implementation for your clients?
See, the challenges could be as simple as not understanding the SAP terminology
Yeah. That's a thing.
to a
Yeah.
to a full-blown error which would show as a profit, but it actually isn't. So I could share one example with you on this topic. Like, one of my client was there in the past, and they build a high value product, but then in that product they have to consume some raw materials while building.
Okay.
And so before I joined the project, there was some consultant there who kind of advised them. They were facing some challenges in consumption, so the consultant advised them, just zero down the consumption quantity, and it would work for you.
Uh-oh. Sorry. I know where you're going. So I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny, but you can imagine in my
But
escalation work, I may have seen something like that once or twice, but go for it. Keep going.
yeah, so the end user just wants to do their day-to-day manufacturing, right? If you're
Yes.
stuck at consumption, you are not able to produce what you want to produce. And
Yeah.
then, somewhere on their head is the pressure of not delivering what their plant should deliver.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, it works. I'll build the product. Let's make all these things zero.
Yeah.
Physically, they've consumed everything.
Hmm.
System-wise, everything is still there.
Yeah.
Business ends up making around 10 to 12 million of profit in a quarter. Everyone is like, okay, let's see what this plant is doing. They're doing something good, that there is a lot of profit in there. They call us and we go to their plant and we kind of realize, okay, the challenge is physically you don't have the inventory.
Hmm.
Your inventory is all gone. So all those value that you're seeing there, you have to redo your physical inventory. So they had to actually shut down their plant for a couple of weeks, uh, check uh, what's gone wrong,
Yeah.
do the physical inventory count, and get those values down. And then eventually they realized they made a profit, but that was around 2 to 3 million, not 10 to 12 million.
Oh,
So it's, and it could, like, these are real life challenges.
yeah.
Like I said, it could be a simple challenge, like they don't understand what a production order is,
Yeah.
and they do some, like, they get into something like this because of wrong advice.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow. Okay. You can tell me that you can't talk about any more details. That's totally fine, because I'm going to ask you a question that might require that answer. Are you able, in full confidentiality and honor to your clients, are you able to talk about kind of like how did you discover that error and what would be the outcome? Because in my mind, those kinds of situations, like somebody loses a job or something happens pretty big when all of a sudden your estimated profit goes from $10 million to $2 million. That's a big deal. That's a lot of money. So, and then you also said in there they had to shut down their business for a couple of weeks. Like
Yeah.
that is a lot. So are you at liberty to discuss a little bit more? I'm really interested. How did you navigate that and be able, well, okay, let's look at how did you navigate it and how did you get them to be able to have a good, satisfied outcome?
So we were a couple of colleagues, like two of us, analyzing the system, and we realized that in the system, uh, the values were zeroed down. So, like eventually, by checking multiple transactions, you end up realizing the component quantities were zeroed down,
Yeah.
and then we were like, why did you zero down? Like we asked a couple of users because SAP, captures everything. So they kind of helped us know that one of the consultant in another team told them, if you're stuck, just zero it down and it would work. He didn't explain them like the impact that it would have.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have zeroed it down in a scenario where it was supposed to be zeroed down, because like you're not consuming one of the components, it's not available,
Yeah.
and you're using something else. So you zero it down and you replace it with something else and
Mhm.
it works. He would have shown it with some other intention, but then they didn't understand the impact of what it would do. So basically that gap which came in there, like I'm saying, okay, you do this, but I'm not saying why you are doing this, what is behind that. And that was the main reason that happened. And the reason they had to shut their plant down was because they wanted to do an actual physical inventory count. So they were actually, like, we all were there on the shop floor in the warehouse, checking each and every unit and then uploading it in the system, and comparing the inventory that is there in the system and which is there physically available. So yeah, that's the reason they had.
I have done my fair share of inventory counts, so I actually do know what you're talking about. Wow. Okay, let's go to the opposite side. Talk to me about a project that you've been on that went amazingly well. The outcome was, again, we're on the premise that SAP implementations are not easy, but where you felt like the customer had what you delivered as for you yourself, the customer's response was kind of like that was way beyond the expectations that we ever thought, and it was better than we ever thought it would be. Do you have scenarios like that you can talk about?
Yeah, yeah. So there was an implementation that we were working on, and we were a team of around 12 to 15 guys. It was a big bang implementation for a customer into discrete manufacturing, and they were kind of building their units in six different locations across the globe. And so the timeline of this particular project was around 10 months, because they were in a rush, and like they just wanted to get onboarded, and they were moving from ECC to S/4HANA,
Oh
but
yeah.
then they wanted to do a greenfield implementation because it was a completely they wanted to change their processes and get all the new functionalities of S/4HANA out of it.
Yep.
And that went really smooth. We went into business workshops, and so uh, I know, like, there's just one point that I would like to highlight here is for other consultants. Like, when you go into a business workshop, I would say you prepare yourself like you are thinking from a client's perspective. You're not thinking from system perspective, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Uh, so in the workshop, like, there were individual process workshops that used to happen. So for manufacturing workshop, I was there. There was a colleague of mine in the same room. So what we used to do is, for those workshops, we used to work with each other one night prior to it, and we used to prepare a script. We used to literally write down that I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show this process, and what is the next question that business could think of?
Mm.
Like, what is that a person who is coming from a manufacturing industry would think of and ask you? And you should write that question down.
Okay.
And if the business fails to ask that question to me, my friend in the room would ask that question for them.
Hmm.
And then I would explain them, okay, this is how your business would be coming here. Like, this
Okay.
is how your business would be fitting into it.
Yeah.
And these kind of workshops made it so easy for them to understand and put themselves in the place where they are using SAP, imagining that way, like, you are on that system
Yeah.
and how you would be using it
Yeah.
and what would be the challenges that you would face. And they would ask those questions because of that one prompt that my friend was given. And eventually what would do is, like, you are preparing your BPD, the business documents, at a at such depth that there is highly very less risk that you would fail, is
Mm.
what I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, uh,
I love
and
that.
then because we did that business process documentation so well, that project went on, like, we were ready in 10 months time to deliver it
Yeah.
uh, for 6 locations, and it did go live in that duration.
Hmm.
On go live day there were a few challenges,
Yep.
uh, like we all kind of predict, right? I was in the States at that time, and we went through that go live, and I was awake because UK was the first place to go live,
Yep.
and it was 8 o'clock, half eight in the morning here. So I was awake over there at like past midnight,
Yeah.
and we were like, everything should work. Yeah, it did work. There were a few bugs, few challenges. We
Sure.
fixed it, and it was a successful go live. And yeah, uh, the celebration after the go live is what you crave for.
Mm.
If you've delivered a good solution and the client appreciates you for that good solution, is like is the best feeling for a consultant, I would say.
Oh, I know. It is. It's such a driver in these projects, you know. And we
Yeah.
know that having been through multiple projects over and over and over again, but sometimes it's really hard for our clients to see that. So it's our job to kind of like shepherd him through that process of, don't worry, we'll get there. It's going to be amazing. Um,
Yeah.
okay, question for you, Pruthvee. I'm really interested for consultants that are listening to the podcast today that are newer to the SAP world. Maybe like what advice would you give them as they're getting started? There's some transitions going on at SAP. We're currently recording this podcast on Friday, August 8th, 2025. So in the last couple of years, there's been these transitions from moving the ECC clients over to S/4HANA and SAP doing a lot of transition and moving to be more of a cloud-based company. And there's market conditions that are going on all around the world that are a little bit wacky and all these kinds of things. Can you maybe talk through with me, like if somebody were getting started and they were just kind of early on in their SAP career, do you have some wisdom for somebody that almost like look at it this way, if you were them 10 years ago when you were getting started, what would you have wanted to know from somebody that's a little bit more senior that's been in the industry, maybe 10 years like you or over 20 years like me? What would that look like?
So one thing I would say is, if you are stuck somewhere in SAP process, you're definitely not alone, and you're not the first one.
Yeah.
So every one of us has been in this phase where we've been stuck at something. It would be past midnight, and you might get those thoughts in your brain that I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's normal. Just breathe in, go to bed. Tomorrow morning you would find something
Yeah.
online or with a colleague. There is a lot of content in SAP.
Mhm.
You just need to look at the right place.
Mm.
And one advice that I would like to give anyone would be, uh, don't don't just be a task taker. Like, don't be someone who is just doing something because it needs to be done.
Mm.
You should be someone who is like a like like a value creator,
Mm.
like adding some value to it. Because if you take it as a task, you would you would be a good consultant in delivering things,
Mm-hmm.
but then you might not achieve like the best that you could have, is what
Oh.
I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think from a perspective where you can add some value to a business or to someone's life when you're working into SAP, it is going to make a major difference. Like you should, like people say that I specialize in working into SAP. No, you should specialize in adding value
Mm.
with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, uh, sorry, I'll try to just keep it short
Yeah.
on this. So, like one of my like with this, I would like to share like one of my examples that I had faced. So you're on a manufacturing shop floor, like specifically on a manufacturing shop floor. So you see, we have SAP. SAP is there to ease a business user.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens on a shop floor is like, there is a conveyor belt. Someone is building something on that conveyor belt. And, there are different processes. You go from one process to another process to another process. But then how do you capture this into SAP is like the business user is going on the shop floor,
Mm-hmm.
putting something on the shop floor, working on it, doing something, and then he's going back to the SAP system and putting some entries into the SAP system.
Yeah.
It's like SAP is there to support them, and but because we kind of follow that standard solution concept, right? We should all follow the standard solution, keep the core clean, and because of that, you kind of add a couple of steps, that additional steps that they have to follow.
Yep. I'm trying.
So I found this scenario a bit tedious for the end user. And then, because of those manual interventions that the end user is doing, he might miss something here or there when he's putting in the system. Like it's natural for anyone, like because they're working in three shifts across the time zones, and it makes quite difficult for them.
Yep.
And human errors are about to happen. So, for looking at this opportunity, we kind of developed a product in this scenario. Like what I would say is adding value to it,
Mm-hmm.
adding value to the business, and it kind of just eases the confirmation process for them. Like they would just scan in, scan out, scan in, scan out
Yeah.
on their shop floor, and in the background, it would capture everything for them. So it's like you're easing the life of the end user,
Mm-hmm.
but then there is a bigger impact wherein your finances that are capturing your actual times, like your production cost and how much time you're taking, what is your actual consumption. If you're doing it manually, you can miss one thing here or there. But
Mm.
if you're scanning everything as you're putting on the shop floor, you're going to scan literally everything. And because the end user wants to do good for the business, like they are always in that, I would do something better, I would be employee of the month, I would like, I would be the good one. And so this product that we developed here at Dragonfly is for that, resolving issues. And that is the advice that I would give to everyone. Like, go for adding a value.
Mm.
It would help you grow, it would help you make more money, and it would help you gain more business, because everyone wants to ease their life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
Swift, like I'm just promoting my product a bit here. Swift confirmation is like the product that we have. It's on SAP Store. It helps uh, businesses on the shop floor. It's targeted to mid-size and small-size organizations
Mm.
who are not affording MES, because MES, SAP MES is the final result. Like, everyone who is there, they are actually doing everything real time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like giving them a gist of what MES would do at a lower cost.
I love that. I love that your positioning is around value. I love that you said that actually in your career, you'll make more, and the product that you just mentioned that your organization has developed, that would add value to be able to do everything step by step, instead be able to scan all that. Like I can think of clients actually that I know in the States that would really benefit from that. That'd be awesome. Um, but yeah, is there anything else that you would share with consultants that are kind of newer to this space or maybe stuck in an implementation? I love that you also kind of, I'll put a pin in that for just a second on that question. I love that you're also talking about, our clients today, this is what I say in my communities, our clients today are looking for strategic partners to help them walk through the next stage of their implementation or their migration over to S4, whatever that looks like for them. What they are not looking for is someone that can say, hey, can you just hire me for an hour at an hourly rate and I'm the cheapest hourly rate or whatever. Most clients that are out there in the space, while cost is a topic of concern, I'm not saying that it's not. Most clients that I talk to and SAP consultants that I also talk to are really recognizing that there's a shift going on in the marketplace, that our clients are really looking for more like strategic partners, strategic advisors that can go shoulder to shoulder with them and their business. I just finished with $100 million client that's owned by $1 billion parent. And one of the things that the president and I regularly talked about is, yes, we're making these tweaks to your SAP system to be able to improve, but ultimately, having been somebody that's been in the space for a long time and coached a lot of executives I have and all this kind of stuff and run through business processes for lots of different industries over and over again, I said, what's going to make your life easier? What's going to help improve your performance as an organization? What's going to help that's going to impact your revenue in a positive way? Like really these business discussions. What's going to help your marketing? What's going to help your lead gen approach? All these kinds of business types of discussions that we would always have, because the process is the process inside the business, and we're just happen to be using SAP as the tool, and we know there's other tools that are out there. But are there any final thoughts that you have around being able to help consultants or customers? Maybe we'll focus more on customers, SAP customers that are maybe in the middle of an implementation that's just a little bit hard right now. Like what advice would you give them?
See, the point that you mentioned, like hourly billing, what I could say is, if we think about hourly billing would always limit the innovation,
Mm,
because you're just focused at making money for those particular hours.
yeah.
Whatever you do in those hours is you're gonna make that money. And what I would like to say to consultants and customers is, it should be more towards outcome based
Mhm.
consulting
Yeah.
rather than an hourly wage, uh, because the real fun in doing what we are all doing in consulting is to see the business impact of it,
Yeah.
right? uh, like that is what should drive you. Like money is obviously there, but then the fun of it is when you deliver something, and which is useful for the business. It's giving them that high value impact. So like last 10 years that I've been in this industry, like initially when you're deployed on a project, you're like, okay, I have to work 9 to 5, deliver this, deliver that, and you're done.
Yeah.
But then when you eventually grow, when you learn more about what business is doing, how business is doing, your main focus turns into, like, what can I do to make something happen?
Mm,
And your mind completely shifts from that hourly wage kind of a concept, because now, like, if I have to do something, if I'm working on a scenario, if I'm working on a product, I would work over and above like my 8 hours or 10 hours. And then, you would go and think, okay, what about your personal life? You're balancing your work life. So it's like you don't have to make that, you're missing out on something at your family level. Like, you have to go out and watch a movie with your wife. You have to go out, take your family for dinner.
Yeah.
enjoy every moment with your kid. But then there is 24 hours in your life. And if you get out of that 8 hour mindset, you would get up maybe an hour early to do something, or you would sleep after your family slept and, put in those extra hours there. It's going to help you understand more. It's going to help you grow more, and it's going to help, get that recognition from your customers. Like, everyone craves for a good consultant, I would say, in
Mhm.
today's world.
Yeah.
uh, you can find consultants, but finding a good one, like if you find a good one, you would want to stick with that consultant. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. First of all, so I'll ask you in just a second any final thoughts that you have for our audience. But first of all, I just want to honor you. I love this conversation. I honor the work that you do with your clients. I love the position of your heart and your mindset that comes in, especially what you just said. It's really not about hourly building. That what I say is that it almost puts us like diametrically opposed to our clients when we're all focused on the hourly billing, then it actually leads to a breakdown in the relationship fast, really, really fast, because it can feel like you're competing all the time instead of partnering with your client. And clients really ultimately don't want that. They want us as those trusted advisors. So I so appreciate the work that you do. I just want to honor the way that you serve your clients, the way that you show up, your mindset, and the way that you approach the market and projects. And it's very freeing for me to be able to interview on the podcast and talk to other folks in the SAP world that are saying, like, be the best you can be and deliver value, because that's what it's the best for our clients. And then they're happy and we're happy and all that great stuff. So thank you so much for that. I really genuinely appreciate that about you as a person. And I just want to highlight that. I always love to be able to highlight people and elevate them on the podcast. So I just want to call that out in you. But do you have any final thoughts for our audience as we wrap up here today?
No, not really. I would just say, like, be a good consultant, and success would follow. Like,
Yeah,
it would definitely follow. If you're clean at your heart and you do something good for someone, you're gonna get the rewards for it
yeah.
in one way or the other.
Oh, that's
That's
so
all.
fabulous. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I so appreciate you. And yeah, we just thank everybody for listening today. Tune in next time for another episode of the Wealthy SAP Consultant Podcast. And we're just super excited to show up and serve each and every day. So thanks, everybody.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Wealthy SAP Consultant Podcast with your host, Anita Anello. We hope you gained valuable insights and strategies to take your consulting business to new heights. Remember, by showcasing your expertise and delivering premium services, you can attract high-paying clients and increase your revenues while serving your customers at the highest levels. To dive deeper into implementing these strategies and overcoming challenges in your consulting journey, schedule a strategy call with our team by clicking on the link below. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll continue to provide you with actionable tips and advice to excel in the SAP consulting industry. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep shining in your consulting business.